Hello everyone, and welcome to another Move MHK Monday. I'm Aaron Stewart, Parks Director for the City of Manhattan. And today we're going to be talking about the second chapter in Move MHK, which is the community engagement. So what kind of engagement do we do to develop this plan? Well, we started with focus groups. We had 14 of them, and it was everything from like bike and pedestrian groups to other governmental agencies to the fitness centers. We talked to as many people that we could to engage in them with both our programming and facilities that are used. We had online engagement. We had a website called Social Pinpoint. We saw over 2,000 people respond on that site, taking surveys, putting dots on maps where they'd like to see things, talking about amenities and programs they'd like to see, and giving us ideas. The open house, we had 2 of those, one at the front end of the plan to capture input just like we were in all the surveys, and then one to reflect on the concepts that were developed through the plan at the end right before we adopted it. We had a statistically valid survey, and this is the thing we give the most weight to because it mirrors the demographics of Manhattan. And so 438 households in Manhattan answered the survey. It's with a 95% confidence level, plus or minus 4%. And so it really lended to what the priority investment rating, or PIR, should be for our department. So you'll hear us talk a lot about PIR in priority investment rating as it relates back, because this is what the community told us that they wanted. So let's talk a little bit about some specifics for information that we got back. First, let's talk about money. So in several of the engagements, we talked about giving somebody $100, how would they split those funds up? And what would they invest in? And what rose to the top of the list is no surprise to most of us, is fund the construction and operation of an indoor pool. And people wanted to spend $24.95 out of that $100 towards that construction of a pool and operations. The next one on the list was continue to expand the pedestrian network, and $13.79 was applied to that. Followed in third, maintenance of parks and park facilities with $13.46. So you can see that list continue on in Chapter 2, but those were the top 3 priorities of how people split their money up. So let's talk a little more about what the PIR ratings came back in the statistically valid survey. So remember, that's the priority investments. And so the priorities that came out of that plan were outdoor park amenities, recreation programs, indoor aquatic amenities, recreation center amenities, nature hiking and biking trails, adult fitness and wellness programs, open recreational swimming area, indoor leisure or family-oriented pool. So the PIR ratings developed from what people deem is important on a scale of 100 and what people deem as we have not met the need on a scale of 100. So you combine those, the total score of a 200. So anything above 100 is considered important, and we should be investing to make that facility, program, or amenity happen. So obviously Move MHK is a long-range plan. So how are we going to keep moving forward with community engagement? Well, it goes back to that statistically valid survey. Our commitment is to do one of those surveys every 2 years to make sure that we're capturing input and we're updating that plan with that input at least every 2 years. We will do revisions to the plan every year based on trends, based on needs, based on the items that we hear. That statistically valid survey will make sure that we're getting the entire community's input and putting that back into the plan as we move forward. Because remember, this is long-range planning. This is the next 10 to 20 years for Manhattan. So it's really important that if you get one of those surveys, please take it. But we also capture surveys from our youth programs when we're out on site. We're paying attention to comments on social media. We appreciate any feedback our community gives us. So any opportunity that you get, send us an email, comment, answer a survey. We appreciate it. So since we didn't receive any questions this week, part of what I'll talk about, since we've been talking about that investment rating, is where are we at with funding an indoor aquatic facility. I said in the first video that the commission didn't really have an appetite to put the sales tax question on the November ballot. They did give us some direction a couple weeks ago, and it was what they said when they adopted the plan, which was over the next year, let's look at partnerships that we can develop through other agencies and even potentially private ones, as well as let's study the particular location where we want to put this facility. So you're going to see us start to do that work over the next year, and there's a potential for a ballot initiative maybe sometime in 2025. That being said, we really want to hear from you, so if you have questions, please put them in the comments, please send us an email, please submit it online, and we want to make sure that we hear from you. I would also like you to know that we have got the Move MHK website up, and it breaks down the plan into the sections of the chapters, so all 7 chapters, and it associates the appendix that belongs in that chapter with that chapter. So for example, we've been talking about chapter 2 today. The appendix that has the statistically valid survey and all that information is located right under the chapter 2 on that website. We'll put the website in the comments to make sure you have a direct link to it. We encourage you to check it out, but this will hopefully make it a little easier to digest for everybody. Thank you for joining us this week. We hope to see you again next week. Let us know what your questions are.